Hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for, at least this week anyway, Friday, the 22nd day of September, 2023. I wasn't feeling well yesterday, and I couldn't do the reading, and so I thought about doing a short, but I didn't even feel well enough to do that, just to let everybody know that I was going to do this today instead. But given that we have the equinox, at least on the Pacific time, with tonight at 11:50 p.m., and then tomorrow's Mabon. This is actually, and it's also a 22 master 22 day, so I don't know, maybe it was the universe saying, no, you need to do this today instead of Thursday. So anyway, let's see, what did I do with my notes? Oh yeah, okay. So I talked about equinox. Oh, also first quarter moon today at 12:32 p.m. That's another thing. And again, I guess with the equinox, I talked about before about doing a Dagaz ritual. Dagaz is one of the last runes of the Elder Futhark. The 23rd, actually, it looks like that. And I've told you guys this before. I like to draw Dagaz on the ground outside, as long as weather permits. Otherwise, I draw it mentally on the floor in the house. But I stand in the center of it right here. And at the time of equinox, I started about 30 seconds before to 30 seconds after, and I just stand in the center and experience the end of one phase and the beginning of a new one. It's a time of balance. It's a time of it could be thought of as reciprocity, and today's rune is Gebo, so that's reciprocity. So that's kind of an interesting rune to draw as well for today. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But just to feel that moment of equinox where day and night rather are equal. It's kind of an interesting time of night tonight to do it, but at the same time, it's just kind of an interesting thing to do, and just to experience the 30 seconds before and the 30 seconds after. And it doesn't have to be 30 seconds. This is just something I started doing a while back, and it's not like an official thing anybody does. It's just what I do. So anyway, if you feel like you want to stay up and do that, you just might try it and see how it feels for you. But anyway, then Mabon's tomorrow, and a lot of people like to. It's basically a harvest festival, and a lot of people like to pick apples and do something with that. They like to create an altar with stuff you've harvested out of the garden. We had a little bit of hopscotch frost last night, and we didn't cover, so I'm not going to know for a few more hours as to what kind of damage it did, or if it did any. But if it did, I'm going to have to go out and pick tomatoes and stuff. But and maybe some peppers. I got one pepper plant that's not in a greenhouse. Well, actually two, but I think the one on the deck will be fine. But see if there's any more zucchini and cucumbers and stuff like that could have gotten it, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But if it did, that's okay. We've had a very prolific summer, and we've been harvesting stuff for the last few weeks, and it was a good season. So I'm ready to let it go. And I think my husband is too. But anyhow, I wanted to start today off a little bit differently. I like oracle decks. I never do them here on the YouTube channel. I never do them here. But what I wanted to do is introduce people to the Wild and Sacred Feminine deck. It's by Nikki DeWart and Elizabeth Margolin, and the illustrations are by Jenny Kostecki Shaw. This is a cool deck. It clearly, obviously, it's a feminine deck, and it's just, if you've ever read different books about feminine mastery and accessing the inner feminine, this is just a cool deck that does that. And today I drew the wolf, which is mastery. Now, this is about fulfilling your potential and leading the path. Doing things in service to others, fulfilling your soul's purpose. It's about integrity and loyalty, about about accessing your potential and fulfilling your potential, and again, fulfilling the soul's purpose. Um, I think that as women, we tend to give a lot of ourselves and not take time for ourselves. And to really understand what we want out of life and what we wish to contribute to others, and find that balance within. And when you do that, when you access the instinct, the wolf instinct within, you can't help but gain mastery, an inner sense of mastery. Just study the wolf and see what happens with them when they travel around in their with their tribe, if you will. Defining your tribe is important. And just accessing the higher awareness or the higher instinct within to see yourself as fulfilling your purpose in life. But anyway, that's the oracle card for today, Wolf and Mastery. So it's just kind of a fun deck. It's 52 cards. There's a link for it when I do a little bit of affiliate marketing. I do it for Mountain Rose Herbs and the Herbal Academy, and also I do some Amazon stuff. And there's a link from Amazon there if you want to go take a look at it and see if you like it. If you buy it, then of course I will get a very small commission on that sale as an affiliate. But other than that, if you just want to take a look at it and see it, they have a lot of information on it there. So anyhow, let's go ahead, and I'm going to move my notes off my table here. And let's go ahead and talk about the runes for today. Gebo is the 7th rune of the Elder Futhark. We have it? Oh, we had it last Thursday. Of last week on the 14th, we had Gebo. And I also talked last week about having Carcer so many times. We're not going to have Carcer this time, but we are going to have Rubius, which I don't know. Anyway, here we have, this is about marriage and partnership. It's a gift of reciprocity. It's Isa crossed, and it's also Kenaz, the torch, or the light of spirit in all directions. It's expressing that energetic balance with someone or with others. It's marriage, it's partnership. And then we move on to, on the lower side of things, this would be the above side of things, and the below side of things with Rubius. Whereas before we were getting Carcer every time pretty much. There was one other time here, we had Fortuna Minor, but we had Rubius on the 28th of August, and then on the 31st was the first day of the Carcer phase. Rubius is a misuse of force. It's about trying to control others, and it's certainly not living in Gebo with other people. So whether this is talking about controlling that aspect within and letting that go, so that you can achieve some level of harmony and integration with other people and reciprocity, or whether or it's that you're coming upon someone today or over the next few days that is like this. It makes it very challenging to extend yourself in Gebo to other people who are like that. And if you are wanting to express that within or have been, then it's a level of control that is at times malevolent, and it's something that is purely ego driven. It's the con artist, it's the manipulator, it's somebody who wants to have power over people in a way that is enormously unhealthy, and it takes this higher awareness of Gebo, where you are aligning in source presence, where you're with Isa, where you're expressing Kenaz in your life, where you're expressing that light of spirit, that higher awareness to everything and everyone, seeing things through that lens. That's the power that will help you let go of any kind of misuse of force, if that's how you're engaging. On the other hand, again, this could be somebody else coming into your life or that you've been dealing with of late, that you need to set the example again with the the wolf and the mastery, setting the tone, leading the path toward higher awareness, to where you can then engage in reciprocity, in that type of higher awareness with other people. So let's take a look at the cards, though. I'll just do a little bit more shuffling. I've already shuffled quite a bit here this morning. While I was thinking about how I was going to talk about these oracle cards. But I do want to go through the deck, so it's going to take me a while to do this, every reading. So we'll have something to open with for a while now, since I only do this twice a week. So let's go ahead and cut the deck, and we'll take the lower half. All right. Well, we have actually one from each grouping of the tarot. We have a card, the Seven of Pentacles, from the Minor Arcana. We have Death from the Major Arcana, and we have the King of Pentacles. We have a run on Pentacles, the Earth element, also from the Minor Arcana, but also from the Court. So when you look at Pentacles, you're looking at the earth element. And so that's going to be everything to do with your physical reality, whether it's wealth, it's inheritance, it can be with respect to the garden growth, money, career, education, any of that has to do with your physical reality. Grounding is another thing. And when we start out with the 7, here we're taking stock. And it's interesting, if you look at the Death card, that's card 13, the 13 reduces to 4, excuse me, 4 and 7 is 11, which is half of 22 for today. Both are master numbers. 11 would be the master number for awakening and enlightenment. The 22 would be the cosmic builder, profound soul level change with that. And so if you're looking at Gebo here and Rubius, maybe the profound soul level change is letting go of any type of manipulative behavior and moving into a more balanced exchange with other people. That could be the energy that gives you the ability to do that today. But here we're going to take stock of what we have. You see a bunch of grapevines there, and we managed to actually get grapes this year off ours. We got to freeze quite a bit of them. We use them for smoothies during the winter. Until they're gone, basically. But here we have a farmer who's got his hand on his rake or his hoe, and he's taking a look at what he has. Does he have enough? Does he need more? Did things go the way he wanted them to? And at this time of Mabon, I think that's another thing that you do. You take stock also of what you were able to yield, what the garden yielded, what the harvest yielded. And if you look at it more in a wider version of that, the wider idea of that, what have you been able to manifest in your life over the past few months? Was it enough? Do you need to do more? 7 is about observation. It's about it's the scales. It's letting things come to a rest so you can understand what you have. And essentially what's going on, what the situation is that you're looking at is all about. And I think that now for us, of course, we're not going to have a whole lot of, time left here with the garden. Some things the broccoli will continue to grow, so will the carrots, but so we're not going to be done with those. But there's some things obviously that are more fragile that once we get a really hard frost, they're done. And so whatever time you have left, letting things settle out so you can take a look at them and see where you are in all of it. What you've been able to yield in terms of material security for you and your family, if you have a family, or if you just have a partner, a spouse. Do you have enough to to actually go forward in life together, or do you need to make some changes that will help you do that and to achieve more? Material recognition and approval is usually with the number 8, but that's also inherent in this particular card. Do I have enough that will make it through? Can I preserve what I have to make it through? And then we move to the card of death. Now, this could be indicating the death of the rubious energy here with that particular rune, with the death of ego, the death of or the transmutation of ego into spirit. We could say it that way, maybe. And here we have death riding through on his white horse. You see the inverted pentagram in the rose here on the black flag, the white rose on the black flag. Inverted pentagram just means that's what it looks like normally, right? Inverted, it just means the focus is on the physical realm. There's nothing evil about it. It's a beautiful rose here, a beautiful depiction of the rose. You see the Pope giving last rites to the king that's laying on the ground dead. You see the queen over here bereft. You see a child here. We'll just assume that that's their child. You see a boat out here. You could call that the ferryman and the reaper coming to reap the soul of the helping the death as he rides through. You don't see an actual as the it could be his boat, but you don't see an actual sickle here or scythe to call him the reaper. But in a sense, that's what he is. But here you have, between the two towers over here, you have the rise of the sun, don't you? So a new day is dawning, essentially. It's the passage of one phase to another. Again, on the day of equinox, if you will, at least for us, or the night of equinox for us. This time of equinox, we'll say, it's the passage of one phase to another. Again, you can also look at the 7 of Pentacles in the same way. At this time of year, the passage of one phase, the growing season into the winter months and waiting for spring to come again. That Degas experience. It really would have been cool if we would have had this, but if you look at, what did I do with that? Oh, here it is. But if you look at it, the inside of here is Gebo, right? You see the X inside there. So in a sense, we have that with Gebo, that passage, that transition from someone who is more self-focused to one that can live in reciprocity and love and balance with other people. So you kind of can see that also with the movement with the harvest in the 7, the transition to something else with death. And again, it doesn't mean someone has died. It just means that there's a transition in the state of being from maybe being asleep to being awake. From having your perceptions all within, as we were talking about earlier, about the carcer experience, where it's a self-imprisonment or self-restriction. You move from that to identifying what that's all about and then letting it go, and then engaging in Gebo with other people. And you could say this with the death card. And again, between the two, you have an 11 numerology, and with that's awakening and enlightenment. And it's master number energy. Again, half as strong as the, or half as, I don't even want to say it's half as strong, but it's half of the 22. Now you can manifest something quite profound when you let go of ego, when you transmute that into spirit, when you can come together in harmony with others and in balanced energy exchange with others. You let go of the ego, the rubious energy, and you transmute that into something more, into something higher. And between the 11 energy for the cards and the let's see, and then 11, that's not the overall though. Let's look at the 11 plus 7, that's 18, that's 9. a nine numerology for the whole reading, including Gebo, you're looking at the end of one phase and the beginning of another one. And it's quite profound when you can understand the fallacy of ego and the fallacy that ego expects you to buy into. A lot of that is going on these days in our world, and it makes it very difficult to know what the truth is. Well, that's where you go within and you rely on higher awareness to tell you what that is. If something feels, if something's very negative or hostile or hate-filled, very self-oriented instead of being service to others, when you can take a look at that in a reasonable way, you can understand the fallacy of the hate, the fallacy of trying to harm other people in your life, to look down on other people, to try to oppress other people, and to not understand when you're actually doing that to yourself in the process. So today, with the 22 numerology for the day and the 11 for the cards here, to allow that transformation, that transition to take place. And, even if you wanted to focus your Degas ritual tonight on something like that, not just experiencing the balanced day and night light times, but also to actually to discover that real true balance within, to let go of ego, to let go of anything that is hostile toward other people, that tries to oppress or use other people or manipulate other people, and then come out on the other side of it with a newfound understanding of the fallacy of that. And how, in truth, you might be harming other people in the process, but you're really also harming yourself. Because if you look at others as simply the other side of self in the projection of higher consciousness that the Creator has provided for us here, then you understand that whatever you feel toward others, you're experiencing the same thing for yourself. That's just a projection, essentially, that you need to explore that idea, really, here, that the soul will use to explore that idea, that whole idea of Rubius here. And misusing the relationships you have with other people to get what you want, essentially, at the expense of other people. That's another way of looking at Rubius here. And death is just suggesting that we let go of that, that now it's time to live in balance here. You see the two towers, that they're side by side, that indicates balance, and you see the light returning. And so you're able then to awaken to a new level of balance within. Excuse me. And then, when all is said and done, we have the King of Pentacles. Now, the court doesn't have any numbers assigned to it. But if it did, the page would be 11, the knight would be 12, the queen would be 13, and the king would be 14. So that would reduce to 5. And so that would be essentially change and innovation and freedom versus restriction. He's managed to find the balance with that, though. Here's the king sitting on his beautiful throne. You see the steer's heads, or the bull's heads, if you will, on each corner. I just kind of look at him as kind of a card of Taurus. I don't know if others would agree with me or not. You can see some grapes over here. You see the wall behind him. You see the castle over here. You see grapes, all this abundance here. Grapes always indicate abundance. And so you've taken stock, you've struck a different balance, and you've let go of perceptions that are not realistic. And you move fully into the abundance that you already have, that the soul already provides. But from a physical standpoint, this may also indicate just the abundance of the choices you make, the resulting abundance of the choices you make. The more you can live in harmony with other people, the more you can respect their needs and respect the integrity of the relationship that you should have with them, where it's a balanced one, where it's not something where you're taking advantage of other people or using your friendship or your relationship with someone else to further on your own agenda. In a way that is more using than an agreement that was made. It's one thing, you come to a friend and you say, I need your help, and this is what I want to do, and I need your help, I need your expertise. Well, everybody knows what's going on. But if you do it behind the scenes, if you do things and you don't, you encroach, in other words, you encroach on other people and you don't even ask their approval for it. Like, can I do this? Is this okay with you? This is going to involve you, so I wanted to check this out with you. Then that's a different story, right? But if you don't do that, then the abundance that you have is very self-serving. It doesn't allow you to let go of perceptions that don't serve you any longer, because living that way does not. It's a rubious energy. It's a misuse of force. It's a misuse of the relationship. So you could see this way. But if you're looking at just from a simple standpoint of abundance and how you see that, the King of Pentacles is someone who's successful. He's authority. He's concerned with legacy. He can be steadfast and responsible. But he can also be somebody, if it's turned upside down here, it can also be somebody that is a little bit fearful of that. He's going to hang on very tightly. It reminds me of the Four of Pentacles, where it's a miserly type of feeling. I mean, it can also try to be conservative in your purchases, but he's hanging on so tightly to everything that he can't give to other people, maybe. And so that level of generosity that you might find with Gebo is impossible in that state. But here, be generous with your abundance with others. And abundance can be all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be, sharing your garden with other people or anything like that. But it could be sharing your time and your wisdom and in the case of today's Wolf card, your mastery with others. Guiding them to the authority that the king has to guide them toward what is true abundance. And the true abundance, I think, is in the balanced energy exchange we have with other people, being able to live that way in partnership with others, with respect, with dignity, with love, and having a true partnership with others that's not based on anything other than that. There's no agenda. There's nothing that's really you're trying to get something that they have or take advantage of them in some way. It's just the true gift of reciprocity with other people, living in that type of balance with others, where the relationships are respectful and with respect to the Seven of Pentacles here, again. Am I doing what I need to do to live in true abundance? Am I understanding both sides of the equation here? If you look at the seven and you look at it in terms of the scales, you could think of the pans of the scales here as being, one side of two sides of the same coin, or they're two sides in the same equation. And both sides of the equation, I guess you could say. And is everything in balance? Is everything in a way that is going to get you where you need to go? And doing so in balanced energy exchange with others. We live in such a weird time where you have people that are very service to self, very it's all about them. Give me this, give me that. And it's not about any kind of an integrated, balanced relationship. Believe what I say, only believe what I say. And you're supposed to give away your own integrity, your own autonomy, your own sovereignty to this individual and follow this person like a cult leader. And it's a very sad thing to watch, because all reason flies out the window for folks. They can't see the forest for the trees. They can't see what's actually happening to them, because their focus is not on the bigger picture. It's not in the 7 energy to let things settle out and to really see what's going on. And with death, it's suggesting that if that's what's going on for you, you have to let go of the need to follow a dynamic leader and have your own sense of wolf mastery, basically, where you're the one that leads, that understands what your path is, and you can discern, garbage from truth, essentially. And in doing that, you awaken with death. You let go of the stuff that's been imposed on you, and seeing that as your truth, to understanding that your truth isn't even remotely that. And that for your own inner mastery, you have to be able to manifest a different path forward, and let go of the rubious energy that you seem to be drawn to, or that if you're that person in other people's lives that you're expressing to others, and realize that that's not going to actually get you any true abundance. Whatever you get might be temporary, but it's never going to be truly satisfying, because when that feeling goes away, there's a void that's left that you now have to fill again with that same kind of energy and that same kind of choices and that same type of lack of balance that you have with other people. You're no longer satiated by that moment where you did that to somebody else. You still have to have more, essentially. And so I think that with the 11 numerology of the cards and the awakening there, the 9 numerology for the overall reading, also with Gebo, then you're talking about the end of that sort of consciousness, if you will, or lack thereof, because personally I think it's a different type of consciousness. It's a very it's one that's very negative and very destructive. It destroys relationships. Nobody trusts people that are like that. When you finally figure out that that's, because like, something's going on, but when you have somebody like that in your life, we have somebody like that that we know of that's impacting us at this point, and in a group setting that they're taking, and it's like, really, you didn't ask me if you could do that, and so it's one of those things where then you're stuck having to deal with it, right? So when you're on the receiving end of that kind of stuff, it's not fun. And because then it's like, well, now we got to confront the people, now we got to confront them, we got to say something, we got to do something, got to respond some way. It's like, whereas if they just would have not behaved that way to begin with, then you'd proceed along on the even keel. Everybody knows what's going on, and nobody knows, and nothing untoward is happening, right? But I think with today, then once you come to that balance and you awaken to that, and you understand what you really truly need to have abundance in your life, then you can settle in like the King of Pentacles, which is the only king I like in this whole deck. I like him. I don't like the other kings. But this one is just willing to be happy with what he has and to appreciate the abundance that he has, and he offers that to the kingdom behind him. It's in preservation of all of that. It reminds me of the Ten of Pentacles, where you're looking at the passage of legacy, in a way that, like through inheritance or something, the passing of the torch from the older person to the younger people. It's done in a way that's in balance, in love and integrity, and all of that. And I think that when you look at the difference between Gebo, the energy of Gebo, and the energy of Rubius today, I think that you can really see that the misuse of force, the wanting to control the situation, wanting to do it in a way that's only from a single perspective instead of one that is balanced with other people. Excuse me. I think that that's really the way to go. And I think when you're taking stock here with the Seven of Pentacles, you really have to think about it that way. Have I done enough? Do I need to do more? Or do I have enough? Is this enough? And letting it all come to rest so that you can understand the bigger picture of it all, to see the cause and effect. That's another aspect of the Seven, to then see where you need to improve, where you need to gain more mastery, and what you need to let go of, and to let that happen. Because a lot of the time when we were talking about Carcer before, you can't get outside that self-imprisonment, that bubble that you're in. And everything is just right there for you. And so there's nothing to think about, no other ideas, no other way of seeing something, just that. You're going to hang on really tight to that. And you're not going to allow yourself to consider anything else. And I think with the Seven of Pentacles, it gives you that ability to do that, to consider something else, to consider all sides of the equation. And when do you need to let go of something and let the light come through in a balanced fashion to illuminate your perspective, to illuminate your heart, to illuminate your path forward? And when you do, then you have true abundance. So I guess that's it. We did it. Went a little long today, but I wanted to introduce this whole other thing here with the oracle cards. I just love oracle cards. I don't know, I have 4 or 5 oracle decks and I like them. This is one of the newer ones that I've been working with, and I have another one that's herbal based, and and I really like that one. That is cool. But this one is too. I may do something with the herbal one. I don't know, or I may write it up or something on the blog. But anyway. This will be fun to do, I think, to start things off. And again, your inner wolf, your inner pathfinder, again, finding your way through in balanced energy exchange with others with Gebo, and letting go of the Rubius in your life. If that's a person, they're threatening your balance. They're threatening your stability. They're threatening your feeling of groundedness in the higher awareness, that you are. So anyway, I guess that's it. Again, apologies for not being here yesterday, but you can see I'm still struggling a little bit with the throat and, whatever this allergy stuff that's going on here. But you start getting into the garden out there, and there's, it could be, you start moving around and molds come up and all of that. And so it could be something like that, but I don't know. I'll have some tea and I'll feel better. Anyhow, enjoy Mabon if you celebrate. Enjoy the equinox if you like. And we'll talk again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. And blessed be.